best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
The wait is over. Registration is now open for the COSCAP Junior Carnival Parade 2025. This year, we celebrate under the theme National Treasures, highlighting our unspoiled historical sites and cultural art forms. The Masquerade, Clowns, Brimstone Hill, Berkeley Memorial, Independence Square, and from Nevis, Hot Spring, Bath Hotel, and the Botanical Gardens. It all comes alive on Saturday, December 27th, 2025. Sign up now. It's free. Register online at www.skncarnival.com or in person at the Department of Youth, 3rd floor of the Cable Building, Keon Street, Bastyr. But hurry, while stocks last, join the celebration, honor our national treasures, and watch the future of Carnival shine. It's sweet to the core. Sugar Mass 54. Sweet to the core.
Good morning to the Federation of St. Kitts, and my voice wants to go to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the regional and international diaspora. It's Tuesday, yes? Choose to do something good for yourself or be nice to someone or do whatever you wish, but just choose to be kind. Just to remind you, we're being simulcast on TVC Channel 40, Facebook, as well as YouTube. On your radio, we are on your FM dial at 98.9. Just to remind you of our numbers, if you wish to bring something pressing to the fore or joining on the topic, our local number is 466-0989. In the U.S., as usual, two numbers. Quint, my voice don't want to cooperate today. 1-305-921-4619 or 1-718-285-6984. In the UK, 0333-440065. I just want to say good morning to all our listeners. Mr. McMahon, Miss Henry, Carla. We have Gawain, Beatrice Richardson, Javon and Dennis in NY. We have Miss White, Miss Nisbet Richards, my mom, Calvin Burke, Rusty Burl. Good morning, Livingstone from Montserrat. Good morning, Chef Mishi Colin, Auntie Katie, Kathleen, Cleo, Gwyneth, Skeeter. Good morning, Annette Frank, Eric Duport, Robert Chapman, Glennet Duport. Oh, I got so many names. Lyndon Williams, Miss Margaret, that's Troy Mommy, Mr. and Mrs. Isaac. Good morning, Fidel Boxer, Edith Bradley, Tyrone in Angola. Good morning, Schneid. Good morning to all listening. Jam Down, Dumpling. Good morning. Anybody to say good morning to Quint? Good morning to you again.
Good morning to everybody.
I like how you do it. But I have to shout out the regulars. So as you know, this morning at 8:30, we are going to have our lovely doc in the studio with us. That's Dr. Natalie Osborne, and her topic for today is what makes a good doctor. So stay tuned to find out what makes a good doctor, and I would implore the listeners to call in and say if you agree or if you disagree. And just a reminder of the local number, 466-0989, and the doctor will be in at 8:30 this morning for weekly dose. So, Quint, I don't know how much of the international news you've been following, but I see for our US visas now, there will be an integrity fee, and if you have any NCDs or other what is called sickness, such as cancer, you cannot, if you put that on your form, you'll be denied a visa. So if you're diabetic, if you're obese, or if you have cancer, those are grounds for being denied. When I read the article, it basically said that people are basically going in, or people are going in, let me not say basically, are going in and using up the U.S. medical resources. But I'm saying, how can you deny somebody a visa on that basis? Because if I have a good insurance and I can prove to you that I'm taking my insurance to go to your country to get treatment, then why would you deny me?
Yeah.
And then the integrity fee that is supposedly will be refunded if you abide by all your visa rules, which is $250 added to the cost of the visa. And this is for student visa, work visas, and tourist visas. So that brings the visa cost now up to $435 US. And that is supposed to be effective from October the 1st. I know someone that did their visa and the integrity fee was included. I think if you are denied,
You mean October past?
yeah.
Okay.
I think if you're denied, you don't get back anything, including your integrity fee.
Well,
But
I've heard individuals say they weren't denied, but they didn't get back refunds on.
no, that's what I'm saying. If you're denied, you and that's the thing. It also says that getting back the refund can be a bit tricky.
Yeah, I've heard people
You're never
who
gonna get that
were
back.
not denied but had problems getting back their refund. And some people feel that this thing about refund is just a way to get your money, and because it's a big old US of A, you just lose. And
So
so
then-
it adds up to a lot of money overall.
But then how honest a person's going to be now in terms of putting what NCDs or what other sickness they have on their stuff? It's basically just trying to keep people out of the U.S.
Well, you see, there was once a time when, if you follow what's happening now, there was once a time when the United States and Europe were doing these things exclusively. But now you realize Africa is now doing what they call a reciprocal thing. The very same thing that you do to us, when your citizens come to our country, it's reciprocal. If
Yeah.
you charge us to come there and to get visa and whatnot, we're charging you for visas and so forth. So it's not the same old world like once ago. And that's why I keep telling people, especially black people from the Caribbean diaspora, archipelago of islands, that when Africa rises, we rise. You understand? It's as simple as that.
Exactly. And another thing I saw on the international scene, and I was actually surprised that there was a woman, the former Prime Minister?
Of India?
Yeah.
Of Pakistan, I think. Yeah, of
Bangladesh.
Pakistan.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's hiding out in India, but she's
Yeah.
been sentenced to death. I was shocked. I thought, I know women are capable of things, but I'm still shocked that it was a woman, and her face doesn't look like she's capable of stuff like that. Just
Yeah.
like the Tanzanian president that locked up everybody before elections.
Well, I'm glad you're a woman saying that, because if I had said that, people would say, here, Quint, he's jumping on the women, and. But I love women. I love women. I feel women, I've always said it, women are just as capable as men in every aspect. And I mean in every aspect. If men are capable of being wicked, women are capable of being wicked also.
We all
Anyway,
have our sides.
we have a
caller.
caller.
Caller,
yeah.
good morning. You're live on Island T.
Grand Rising, Cortencia.
Same
Grand
to you.
Rising to you, Quint.
Good
Grand
day.
Rising to the listening public. Guys, this morning I want to bring something to our attention on a global scale. I've been asking on social media for Africans globally to boycott the UAE, specifically for what is happening in Sudan. Now, I came across a post this morning from one of my African platforms by title Africanizer, where African American athlete Sha'Carri Richardson was at an event in the UAE, and she was inappropriately molested by a high-profile
Member or
member of the UAE.
yeah.
Now, this has exploded across social media, and from what I'm gathering, her fans have now boycotted the airline, where the airline share has plunged 3%, and of such has called for a chairman, Sheikh Ahmed, to make a statement. You know, listen to what you just stated, Quint, of the reciprocation that is taking place in Africa. Here we are, most of us, we are still complicit because we are not paying attention. Now, I am one person, I am me, I am Journey, and I am aware of what is happening, I am aware of what is at stake, and I am certainly aware of the war that have brought to us, where they are stating it is either them or us. Now, Quint and Cortencia, our hearts and our genetic makeup are different to theirs. And that is why we open. And I have to bring both their action and their literature together. Because when we have swallowed their misery by turning the other cheek and loving our enemy and do good to that hate us, they are continuing to do their harm to us in mass unaliving of our people. Yet we're still going along to get along. Now follow me, guys. Americans are becoming more American today. Chinese are becoming more Chinese. Indians are becoming more Indians. When are we, black people, are going to stop going along to get along? Quint and Cortencia and the listening public, the future is at stake. What is going on in Sudan, we have high-profile people in the UAE that are supplying high-tech weapons to Arabs in Sudan to go and unalive Africans that look like you, Cortencia, Quint, and myself. And they are taking pleasure in it.
A journey.
The UAE, just a minute, Quint. The UAE is 99% desert. They have no vegetation. They are expecting to get their vegetation from Sudan along with the minerals, gold, diamonds to fill their skyscrapers and their shopping malls. All that is happening in Sudan, it is by design, and we are silent. Our the African Union, African politicians, Caribbean prime ministers, they are silent to this present genocide that is taking place on the. It is no longer about Russia and Ukraine anymore. The geographic space of our continent, Sudan, the Congo, Tanzania, and the man that's referred to our continent as shithole country is now threatening to impose Nigeria. And our voices are mute. We have to protect the future of our unborn. We are the present now. What are we doing? We have to protect the future of our unborn. What is in Africa, you, Quinton Cortencia, and myself, we are entitled to it. They are keeping us at bay by design. They don't care whether we kill ourselves or not. They don't care. Make no mistake about this. Yes, Quint, are you saying something?
I wanted to ask you, you say that African leaders are silent. Not all of them. Are you not aware of a recent conference where a particular African leader said that they should extricate the UAE from anything to do with Africa? It was in a forum with other African leaders, and you could hear the applause. Are you not aware of that?
Well, Quint, now I know there are African leaders who are standing up for Africa. And, you know, I follow my platform. I'm not open to all platforms, but I would take it that, as you said, yes, it happened.
Yes, it is.
Now,
maybe one of these days I'll play a bit of the clip, but go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm looking at, what's his name? Ramaphosa of South Africa, the president. This morning I woke up to him giving a speech about accepting the Palestinians that are coming from Gaza. That in itself is by design. That in itself is by design. We have seen areas where countries like Rwanda and I think maybe Nigeria are accepting deportees. Who are these deportees? They are sent there to eventually cause destabilization. Make no mistake about it. But yet we are opening up to them. I made a comment to Ramaphosa this morning on social media. He's a very weak man. It is high time we start to call things for what they are.
I agree with you.
Ramaphosa is weak and Ramaphosa is being swindled. Just like the female president of Tanzania. Because they're going to get her. They're going to get her, you know. They're going to go after Samia of Tanzania. They're going to take her to the ICC. They make you and they break you. And we have to recognize their tactics now and stop playing the game. And this is my call for our people. You cannot unite without knowledge of self. And it is needed right now. The clarion call is sounded. Social media, this era of technology, we are no longer on the age of belief, the age of the fish, Pisces. We are now where information is at our fingertips, the age of Aquarius. Let us apply our mind and blend our voices together. The future, our future is at stake. I'll call back, Quint.
Okay, we'll take a bit of a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 98.9 winnfm.
'Tis the season for dreams to come true. There's Santa for the kids and CIBC Caribbean for you. Whether it's a house, land, vehicle, or upgrading your home, CIBC Caribbean can support your dreams with the financing you need. Enjoy incredible cashback deals with mortgages and land loans. Plus, your approved loan gives you a chance to win up to US $5,000. Apply now at www.cibccaribbean.com/sweeten the season. Terms and conditions apply.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
Here comes the Mega Ball. You could win more with the Mega Ball. Pick 3 and pick 4 and you could get all.
Yes, playing Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery just got more rewarding. Now you can win more with the Mega Ball. For just an extra $1, increase your winnings by $1,000 with the Pick 3 and a big $10,000 with Pick 4. Don't wait, play today. Play Pick 3 and Pick Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide.
You ready to win a little extra? Then get on the ball.
Must be 21 and over to play.
And we are back on Island Tea. And as I said on the 8:30 hour, do not forget to tune in. We're 9 minutes away from Weekly Dose. And remember, today's topic is what makes a good doctor. And as I said, if you agree with the doctor when she does the entire explanation, you can call us at 466-0989 to give us your views.
We have a caller.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Island Tea. Good morning.
Good morning to everybody. Quint, Cartensia, and the listeners. And greetings once more in Jesus Christ's name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, by faith only, through the gospel only, and by the gospel only, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, I also say we need to become a republic and get out the British Commonwealth, and the quicker we do that, the better it is. Now, three things I would like to say quickly. Number one, also, along with the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, that is causing the genocide of the Sudanese, you also have, in addition to them, the U.S. and Israel as well, helping to cause the genocide of the Sudanese. And let me also say, for a good while now, those same Muslim Gazans from Gaza, they have, over the years as well, joined with the other Arab Muslim brethren, and in Africa has been killing and raping and doing all sorts of harms as well to Africans. So those people in Gaza that we are so fond of in speaking out about what the Israelis is doing to them and the wrong that the Israelis are doing to them, they as well have been doing the same wrong to Africans.
Two wrongs don't make a right, kind sir.
Yeah, and that is why I said we speak out about the wrongs Israel has been doing to them, and they too has been doing the same wrongs.
And we never said they weren't guilty, because remember, October 7th happened because they went into the music festival and attacked the folks. But after a while, it got too ridiculous. The fact that children were suffering, it got overbearing, and innocent people were being killed.
Yes, and they have been doing the same thing to Africans with the other Muslim brethren in Africa as well.
But that war in Sudan, Greg, that war in Sudan, didn't it start as a coup to overthrow the leader, and it got confrontational because neither of the two gentlemen want to give each other the turn to lead first? Isn't that why? This thing about Sudan has been going on for many years now. Many years now.
For many years.
I understand that.
And Greg is right. A lot of us, I tried sometimes not to address it because I don't want the spotlight to be taken off of the heinous things that has been done to the individuals in the Gaza, but it is true. Even some blacks went down there to show sympathy, and they said that they were surprised to see some of the racism that was coming from the very same people who they went to, to show solidarity with. So the world is a mix-up place. So here we are out here saying, and we still hold to that this genocide should discontinue and so forth. But there are people among them who feel like if this genocide were to end, they wouldn't have a problem committing genocide against us. It's a sickness of the world.
And they have been doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My second point is, so Cartons, I'm not justifying anything. I'm just calling out the reality of the situation.
Right.
Okay. My second thing that I wanted to say, and I've been going through my head since last night, even up to yesterday. All of these American presidents, Trump, Biden, Obama, Bushes, Clintons, Reagan, you name them. Carter, even though he was not as bad as them, but still bad. They all are very wicked, And Trump is not some kind of special, unique, wicked among them. All of them in the same bracket. All of them. And lastly, I would like to say this. In the spirit of Christmas, which is coming up next month, when it was run by the churches and the private sector, it had more depth to it, more preaching, a stronger Christmas message and so to it, by your preaching and so on. But from the time the government took it over, it has become mostly an entertainment thing. Yes, you got a little something said about Jesus and Christmas here and there. Yes, you do have that. But nothing compared to when it was run by the churches.
So, Greg, why don't you go to the ministry and try to work with them to get more Jesus back into it? Because maybe if they're not aware that a lot of it is missing, then they won't be able to do much. So
I have said it on the radio, and I think they have heard me more than once on the radio saying this.
Maybe you showing up might have more power than you just saying it on the radio. So saying it on the radio and showing up can work.
Well, what I would recommend is that they turn it back over to the churches as it was when it began.
Okay.
That is what I would recommend. Because once something is in government hand, it actually gets worse and worse. And this has been happening over the years with in the spirit of Christmas. It has been getting more and more shallow and hollow, with just becoming more and more entertainment thing. With topping it off, the ban from the prison, topping up, we just become an entertainment thing. Just entertainment thing mostly. Yes, like I said, now and then a little Jesus and a little something about Christmas is sprinkled into it. But when it was under the control of the churches, in private hands, it had far more substance and depth compared to where it is right now, just an entertainment thing. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Greg. Thank you.
Oh, you're not hearing me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We've got just about 2 minutes before the bottom of the hour. I think it's fitting that we take that break right now. And when we come back, the doc will be in session.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
The right time, right ride, right now at Horsefoot's Automotive. Buy now or reserve for VAT discount days, Friday, December 12th and Saturday, December 20th, and get our lowest rates ever. Plus, enjoy up to $17,000 on select models. No VAT and no down payment. Drive away with finance with Horsefoot's and get free bill of sale, free servicing for 12 months, free registration, free tinting, and even free groceries or gas for 3 months. Because the right time is here for the right vehicle with the right deal right now. Visit Horsefoot's Automotive right now. Drive smart. Drive Horsefoot's. Terms and conditions apply.
The holidays just got a whole lot brighter with the new $5 Holiday Stash Scratch Ticket. It's easy to play, packed with $1,000 prizes and many chances for you to win big this holiday season. So go ahead, treat yourself, spread some cheer, and stack some cash. Play Holiday Stash today at Caribbean Lottery agents and vending machines island-wide. Must be 21 years and older to play. Please play responsibly.
Campari. Red Passion. Embrace the mix.
Campari Red Passion, full action, this is Red Passion. Embrace the mix, add Campari, make it turn and twist. Add your chaser in your drink. Campari Red Passion, make the nicest mix. Campari!
Campari Red Passion. Embrace the mix. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
And we're back on Island Tea. It's just about 1:31 minutes. Hear me, 1 minute after the hour of 8. And as promised, it's time for Weekly Dose. So good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Weekly Dose. Today's topic, remember, I keep admonishing you to call in. So once a doctor, as I said, once you would have finished the discussion, you can call in and you can lay your pointers at her feet and she will tell you what is what, okay? So today's topic, what truly makes a good doctor? Dr. Osborne, always a pleasure, always looking bright, always looking good. Listen, I would like to look like you one day. No, you understand what I mean, right? Yeah, I'm working on it. She has an excellent figure, guys. An excellent one, yeah.
Good morning, and thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here with the audience. I look forward to it and always trying to see how we can learn and grow together. And today we're challenging the doctors because it is important as well too, because there's always room for us to improve and be our best selves. So we're discussing, as you correctly said, what actually makes a good doctor. And I know sometimes persons will sit in a doctor's office and when they get up and leave, they'll say, man, I'm not going back there. They would not have liked the experience. Some person would have loved the experience and feel warm and embraced and stuff. So there is a mixed bag. But as human beings, there's always room for us to improve. So that is why I wanted to bring this topic and so put us a little bit in the spotlight. So I will not get too defensive if the person's challenged, but I will try to explain as best as I can. So let's go.
Yeah, so please don't come for my good doc today. So let's start with the quality people mention most often, compassion.
Yes, Cortesia, compassion. Absolutely, because what happens, medicine starts not with the hands, but with the heart. Okay, so a good doctor sees the person, not just the pathology. And I know persons complain about that. So when patients visit with the doctor, they feel vulnerable. They often feel like they're in pain. And a doctor that shows compassion and empathy, putting themselves in the patient's shoes and understanding the patient's need, will be seen as a good doctor, and they put the patient at ease. So they must have a passion for helping others. This is not a field that you should go into if you don't like to communicate, be with others, and have that compassion streak at all. So they must be motivated by a desire to make a positive impact in the lives of their patients and be committed to providing the best possible care that the patient may need.
Okay, Doc, beautifully said. Sometimes reassurance is indeed the most powerful medicine. Let's talk about availability and accessibility.
Okay, oftentimes doctors thought to be or said they're busy. And then they show up late to events, they show up late to the office, and they have patients waiting. And I know Quinn could testify to this, that sometimes the doctor's not available and accessible. That is not a good quality at all. Your patient must be able to access you in some form, whether by telephone, whether by seeing you in person. And we have to make it our responsibility that if we say that our office or clinics open at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever the time, that you're there waiting instead of having the patients wait on you excessively. Because a doctor who's always available can reduce stress and anxiety. Imagine you're sitting in the doctor's waiting room. And to be honest, I'm going to call us out. Sometimes persons are late to get in just because they spend an extra half hour in bed. But it takes a lot of commitment. And I remember working, I would never give up on Dr. Cameron Wilkerson because he's been a mentor of mine for a lot of years. And I think I'm a better physician because of just seeing him. He always say, you have to be available, you have to be accessible. And this is a man right up until he left after 25 years of service was always at the hospital on time. The patients can always know they could count on him. So patients have come to count on me. They say they hear the shoes coming, the high heels. I say, oh, I know doctor is coming because they hear the shoes. So we must be able to be there to answer questions and give support, of course, all right?
Okay, but when does responsibility becomes overbearing because, you know, you say that now and patients might think, oh, I can call at 12 o'clock in the night or 1 o'clock in the morning. How does one curb that?
But there is also that pushback as well, too.
Okay.
That's why me personally and a lot of physicians don't like patient. I prefer the patient not to call me on my private cell, but people often get that as well, too. The cell is for my intimate relationships. Of course, we use our cell phone a lot because we're communicating with the hospital, with the emergency room, etc. But when a patient gets my number, I always try to redirect them to the office because you really need sometimes a moment to regroup yourself. So yes, let's keep it in balance there.
Yeah, I'm just making sure of that. So another major quality, communication. What does that look like in real practice, Doc?
Okay, let me talk to you clearly about that. All right. Communication is everything. A doctor who cannot communicate is like a surgeon operating in the dark, and you don't want your surgeon operating in the dark at night. So sometimes I could give you an example. Patients would be there and you're trying to explain it. We've got to be careful with our jargons, making sure that they're simple enough to understand. Even if you're going to use more of a scientific term, you have to find a way to break it down for that individual, of course. I oftentimes bring out a notepad and a piece of paper and I draw certain things. So this is what this means. This is where I'm going to cut. This is where your incision is going to be. So that is important that you communicate because persons sometimes don't want to feel like they are undereducated, for example, and sometimes if the doctor is not explaining well, they would not say, I'm not understanding you. They'll walk away and then you'll hear the parent or the family member come and say, well, Doc, what did you say to her because she wasn't able to explain it to me, he or she? It means that they didn't understand. So it's important that you break it down as much as possible. So it's not just to speak, it's to make sure that your patient understands you.
Yeah, and that's very good. So what about attention to detail?
Yes, a doctor who's not a detailist often miss things. And here's where that could go wrong because we have to pay attention. Once we order our labs, for example, this is just an example, you have to look to them with detail and try to course correct. For I could give you a live example. Patients stay in the hospital can extend if we keep having to come back and check on something else, come back and check on something else. Something that should have been seen or addressed early from the initial onset can delay the hospital stay, for example, or make an individual have to do multiple visits because then when you come back, you then say, oh, look, there's something new we need to address. Oh, and that can do if you're not paying attention to details. So that is why it's important. Once you have that patient at hand, you have your information, whatever studies, your images, you're looking at it and trying to address as much problem as you can at that point, all right? To give an accurate diagnosis and to make sure you have the right treatment plan in place.
I know some patients are going to love this one. Positive attitude and professionalism, because when we come with bad things, we just want nice things said to us.
Yeah, a good doctor has a positive attitude, and I think that is one of my strengths. Sometimes I may not have a positive attitude for myself, but I'm very good at encouraging people. No, everything's gonna be okay, and I am not a dooms person, so you're not making the person feel like it's the end of everything. I try to find ways to encourage the person by telling them, look, you're 75, and if this is the only problem you have, you're doing good. You're doing, and so we have to find ways to do that, and we have to behave professionally. Oftentimes we falter on that as physicians. So I would like to challenge myself and even my colleagues in that, in terms of how we speak to our patients, how we speak to each other, and we keep that level of professionalism. Certain things you should not say to a patient, and the way you say it, sometimes it can come off very unprofessional as well. And remember, when you're in that professional setting, I know you want to make your patient comfortable, but you have to keep a level of decorum. If not, your patient is going to think that you're just any random. Yes, because a patient might hang out with you on the side of the street and you smoke a cigarette and you smoke a blunt or whatever. But when it's time to come for medical attention, are you sure they're going to be comfortable? They may say, this same doctor I'm hanging out with, I don't think I want him to take care of me. You know, understand? Yes. So there have to be some boundaries, and you always have to conduct yourself, because even if we're not on duty, think about it, persons are always watching you, and they'll say, this is how the doctor behaving. And so we're always under a microscope, especially in a small community like this.
Indeed. So let's talk about skill. We know that skill matters too. So how important is competence?
Oh man, competence is everything. But you've got two things. Because remember, we talk about compassion.
Yep.
If you have compassion, but you do not have the skill, what is that? What is that? Okay, that's just going to be sentiment. So you need compassion, and you also need the skill.
Yeah.
We've had situations where a doctor is very nice, and the patients have said the doctor was nice to them, but the doctor was not treating them correctly. Do you understand the difference? You could come and have that compassion. You can pass your hand over their shoulders. You can make them feel extremely comfortable. But if your surgical diagnosis or your medical diagnosis is not accurate, that's just sentiment to the patient. So doctors need to be making sure that they're reading often, doing the little courses, making sure that they understand, because procedures and protocols change over the years, because we graduate 10, 15, 20 years ago. You have to keep yourself up to date. So you must have a depth of understanding of the human body and making sure that you stay up to date, all right? Because patients sometimes can pick up when the doctor lack that knowledge and expertise, and you want to make sure, because then patient would say, and you've heard this, they'll walk out and they'll have this script and say, I'm not even bother getting this.
Coming back.
Yes. So we must have a good, strong problem-solving skill and be able to effectively diagnose and treat health problems, okay?
Indeed. You know, sometimes we say we're not going back either because we find the doctor is not listening and the doctor don't have any patience. So let's talk about that quality that's often overlooked.
Yes, okay. We've got to listen to the patients, because sometimes when you listen, and I've had this too, because I'm going to be honest with you. Person come in, and the minute they start talking, once I think I know what it is, I want to move along.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to pause, because I've had situations where you would have thought, oh, this person is saying it, and it's directly this. And in the conversation, you realize, if you listen, you realize it's leading you to a different pathology. And I'll give you a classic example, somebody, because some structures are so close in the tummy or the abdomen, a person may come in, and you're sure that it's the gallbladder, and then it could be something with the pancreas or something with the stomach. But as they continue to speak to you and explain to you more their symptoms, you can then say, oh, this is pointing me. But if initially you make a judgment call already, then sometimes persons cannot course correct, and then they go down the path of that erroneous diagnosis, because they did not listen enough or sufficiently to the patient.
Oh boy, so listening is key.
So details, we're going to pick up some of the details there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say you're excellent on this. What about good time management skills?
Yes. You don't know. Yes, I thrive to do that. Time management is important. And everything that you do, someone is counting on you to be like that. Because then I'm wondering, okay, patients are waiting for me at the hospital. Because patients have said, well, doc, you're coming late today, because I probably might have reached 8:30 instead of 8. That is a level of expectation that the person have on you. And time management is going to be important, all right? Because you want to be managing your schedule effectively and prioritizing tasks. And I have worked on that, as I said, because of a mentor of mine over the years. As a surgeon, I have grown in my discipline because of that, and knowing that I have to be timely. So I find that is one of my strengths, because the earlier you get to a patient, the quicker you can make a diagnosis as well and start to put a treatment plan in place. So timeliness is important.
Indeed. So let's talk about integrity and ethical judgment.
Yes. Integrity is doing the right thing no matter what, even when no one is watching you. Yeah. And I will give you a true story. A patient came to me, and they were convinced that they had a problem, okay? And it was a surgical problem, and they were ready. They said, Doc, I'm ready to get my surgery done. I'm ready, whatever you say the cost is. And I examined the person, and I said, but sir, you don't have a problem here. And I had to convince him that there wasn't any. If I practiced in such a way that I was unethical. I could say, oh, yes, and proceed to do something that was unnecessary or not indicated.
Exactly.
Okay? So you have to understand that, and patients are going to ultimately appreciate you for that. And it's important that we talk about integrity and ethical behavior, because we have a society now that doctors are, for lack of a better term, trying to one up the other and making themselves more marketable. They can speak ill of another colleague. All of that is not correct in our practice at all. Okay, you saw Dr. John. All right. This is my thinking. This, though it may differ from Dr. John, I could see where he might have made have that thinking, but it's not my place to beat down Dr. John at that time or say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. And oftentimes, to elevate ourselves, we can
bring down the other person. So we have to remember that. Let's talk about respect for patients' privacy and confidentiality.
Well, that is part of the medical oath, of course. You've got to respect a person's privacy and confidentiality. Of course, I should not be going home and saying, you know who I saw? I treated the neighbor from next door and she had such and such and such. So that is autocomplete of privacy and confidentiality. And we know that even when we're working in that hospital setting, all of the other healthcare workers, they know that. We have to ensure that we're not speaking on a patient's matter in front of an audience that should not be privy to that. Okay, so we have that goes without saying, of course.
Okay, caller, go ahead. You're live on Weekly Dose.
Yeah, good morning to you, Hortensia, Clint, and the doctor and the listening public. You can hear me loud and clear, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, straight to the doctor. I'm here listening keenly, right? And I got something I wanted to say or ask about. Number one, as she's talking about being a good doctor, and there's something they call malpractice, right? Malpractice, we don't really see that happening in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But we are a society that don't really even believe in that type of stuff. But say, for instance, in the American system, they will keep, it seems like it's a way to hold doctors accountable. You know what I mean? And I can be corrected as well. How is this part of medical practice handled in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis? Because I heard about there was a case in Nevis recently. A doctor probably got sued over there. And, I mean, I don't have all the facts, but it appears like one of the political leaders over there might have paid the damages in terms of a civil case or whatever. And I stand corrected, and I might put in the word alleged here because I don't have all the facts. But coming back to the doctor, I want her to be able to say something in that regard. You know, a person go to the hospital and he had an issue with his left hand, and, you know, something is, his right hand is gone. I mean, how does this stuff play out in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis? And secondly, there's a disease called sickle cell. It's affecting black people primarily. As a doctor, do you know anything about that sickle cell disease? And, you know, who in the Federation, who in the Federation, you're still there? I want to continue this for 30 seconds more. Who in the Federation, because this disease is affecting a lot of persons in St. Kitts and Nevis, who in the Federation is promoting the education for sickle cell, especially to catch the children at a young age, because this is a disease that a lot of us did not even...
Caller, you have to be precise. Remember, time is a matter. I think we've gotten the gist of the two.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, all right, okay.
So she can
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so, well, for sickle cell, okay, we have especially it affects black individuals. Of course, the cells become deformed, sickled, the oxygen carrying capacity, essentially that is not adequate. This is how their blood count tends to be lower. These persons tend to present with jaundice or yellowing of the eyes. There's rapid destruction of their red blood cells. They have respiratory distress. These persons come in with joint pain and lots of things like that. We do see patients with sickle cell disease, and it is often managed here. Our internist tends to take the lead on these cases. If it's a child, the pediatrician, of course. So we do that. Of course, education is always needed. That's why we do these shows, that we can talk on different topics to encourage that. So for that part, when we talk about ethical standing and stuff in our community, we have the medical board here, of course. Can it be improved? Can the work be improved? Can the vigilance be improved? Yes, it always could, but we do have an accountability board. Sometimes if there is an issue, of course, they're the correct channels. If you have an issue with a physician, of course, you can address it. Who's at the hospital level, you can address it with the medical chief of staff, of course, and then that would be discussed. And if the problem cannot be resolved, of course, that channel can go up further. We've had physicians being taken to the medical board. We've had physicians over the years have had their license revoked, suspended, and these are in egregious cases. We cannot still compare ourselves apples to apples with the United States. There's a lot of litigious communities there, and sometimes it is a way to think that a person can make some quick money. That's the truth about it. Oh, I'm going to sue. And that is why there's a lot of barriers and protections there. And that is why malpractice insurance is very high, especially for surgeons and gynecologists, because these mothers with these precious newborns, if anything happens. But most doctors do not intentionally want to harm anybody. As correctly, we are human beings, and we can err like anyone else can err. That's why checks and balances should be there. But the community has become a lot more litigious, and we have our small island to persons, seeking legal opinions when they perceive that a doctor do them wrong. But we've got to realize as well too that there are well-described complications in medicine and side effects and stuff. So that's why you have to really analyze it, because not every case would have merit. Because if you, for example, I do a hernia on you and you have a wound infection, to come and sue me, that really doesn't have a merit. I'm just breaking it down simple, because a wound infection is a common post-surgical complication. Do you understand? So there must be balance, but we do have a medical board that can keep our physicians in check, and should as well too.
Okay, we have another caller. Caller, be precise, please. Straight to the point.
Yes. The competence part of it, I imagine would have been, I thought would have been the very first one, actually. But I remember reading an article that spoke of the laying of hands, the effects of that, as opposed to the long list of tests, medical tests that are done. Okay? And I just wondered if, in looking at the qualities of a good doctor, one should not look at that. It might be rudimentary, but actual touching of a patient, being very thorough, as opposed to relying on medical technology. And bearing in mind that the diagnosis, a doctor essentially looks at symptoms and so on, and then diagnose. Wouldn't it be a necessary quality of a doctor for them to be au fait with things like even AI that can do very much the same thing that a doctor does with even more accuracy, 100% accuracy most of the time. So I just wanted the doctor to look at those two things in particular. And one last thing, yes, compassion and communication, but when is it okay for a doctor to hold back or to be brutally honest? Sometimes the patients feel that the doctor knows the extent of the problem, but, holds back for not wanting the patient to be overly concerned and that sort of thing. So how do you balance those?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then.
Okay, so he gave us a lot there to unpack. Let me see if I could remember it all and unpack it. But he started with a very important point. I was taught, and I remember, and it's not, certain tidbits you would have learned from persons over the years. And I learned that 90% of diagnosis can be gotten from your interview with the patient, talking with the patient and listening, and the physical examination. All right? In the older days, like 20, 30, 40 years ago, we didn't have access to a lot of the technology that we do now, Quint and Cortensia. So the doctor had to use a lot of his clinical skill, his touch, to make a diagnosis. With the advent of time, we have much more technological advancement, ultrasound, CT scan, MRI, and we've lost some of the touch that the caller spoke about. And I did say that 90% of your diagnosis can be made if you were to take time and discuss with the patient and examine the patient. And then your imaging studies, your laboratory studies would just be there to confirm. Some of the doctors and modern medicine is almost doing the opposite. Get tests, get studies, oftentimes even in a first world country, because they have access to a lot more.
Yes.
They tend to do a lot more imaging studies immediately, and then find to that maybe 2 or 3 of these studies would not have been necessary if you had to examine and speak to the doctor. We're still a little bit in between. But I'll say the opposite no, because when I tell a patient, you have a hernia, and some of them would want, well, you're not going to do an ultrasound, so your hand kind of tied because they feel like they're not convinced unless they have a specific image. Most of these hernias, you see the bulge and you say, this is an obvious hernia, and the person will say, well, let's do some studies to confirm that it is. So then the doctor is now put in a position that they would order an ultrasound. Though clinically you can see, I don't need an ultrasound to tell me this is an abscess. Did you understand? It is warm, it is red, it is tender, and I know that there is some fluid or some pus or so in that. And so some persons are ordering these studies because of that. So it's a delicate balance. So I appreciate what the caller said. And another thing, what else he mentioned, wanted to touch on?
I think
he talked about AI in the end, and AI is I wasn't sure. I use ChatGPT sometimes just to get a quick response on something. We always have to use, and that's part of education and informing yourself and making sure you're on the right track. What is it? Because sometimes you just need a summarized version there. Don't be too proud as a physician to say, okay, let's look up this together. Let's see if we could focus on what. Because some of these conditions, we may not treat them on a day-to-day basis. You may have to. So always we go back to talking about being prepared as a doctor, constantly reading. That helps with your level of competency. And I also would say this, because once you're more comfortable and you're more prepared, your turnaround, because sometimes the person's complaining in the emergency room about the wait time. If there is lack of clarity, sometimes the younger physicians may have to order more and more tests to get certain level of clarity. But with experience, you may be to see something and say, oh, I know what that is. But we have younger physicians, and the same way the older ones had to learn and improve their skills, the younger ones do have to learn as well. Go ahead.
He spoke about holding back.
Oh, yes. He also touched on holding back information. Sometimes you have to know what level of audience you're dealing with, and persons can sometimes misconstrue a doctor's words, so your words matter. Words really do matter. And then patients would then say that, oh, the doctor said this, or it may seem like it come off harsh. I'm very careful when I'm telling someone that they have something as bad as a cancer. You have to be very delicate with your words, because persons would say, oh, well, she just blurt out the word cancer, because there's always a way that someone can misunderstand us. I'll give you this example, and this is funny to me, and I had to tell the staff. A physician called me, one of our radiologists, and said she had a patient there, and the patient had a breast biopsy some time ago, which I did, and the patient came to see her. She was very anxious and worried, and she said, I need an ultrasound on my breast because I feel something where the scar is. The previous surgery was done, and the doctor, and she said, man, doctor, I went and this doctor did the surgery, and the radiologist asked me, who was the doctor? I don't even want to say, no, if you're talking clearly with me, talk to me and tell me who was the doctor. She eventually said and called my name. And then she said, I don't even want to tell you what Dr. Osborne said. I don't even want to say it. And she said, no, if you come here and you're talking because you have me concerned, no. And sometimes physicians, want to clarify and maybe support their own colleagues. I don't even want to tell you what Dr. Osborne said. And when she said, so, no, you need to tell me right now what she said. Oh, Doctor's husband said to go and live my life.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
I guess, too. That's why words matter.
Oh, wow.
I told her to go and live her life because after the biopsy was done, it was negative.
Yeah.
So I said, all is negative, go live your life.
Oh, boy.
So
she thought you were being casual.
Yeah,
what
you have to, the rest.
Or maybe she thought that I would mean that there's nothing else can be done, just go and live the rest of her life.
Well, you have to.
So she thought that was a negative, but words matter because typically I would say that, go and live your best life.
Yeah.
But I would have told her, oh yes, I have the biopsy report, it is negative, nothing is wrong, there's nothing cancerous, because that's the biggest thing we're concerned about. And so go and live your life. But she took that phrase, go and live your life as someone.
As she only had 2 weeks to go.
Go right ahead.
Caller, go ahead for Dr. Osborne. You're live on Weekly Dose.
Yes, hello, doctor.
Yes.
Yes. Some time ago, I was listening to a doctor in America, and they said they have a subscription system where you have people subscribe to them, whether they pay something every month or whatever. And those people who they're subscribers, they would get extra privileges and service from the doctors and the sort of stuff. Maybe like you could call them like maybe certain hours where other normal patients won't be able to call them, and maybe you get visits from them and whatever extra thing and so as a subscriber to their services. So do you think wouldn't that be a good thing as well? And also, what about making house calls? Does that? I know a long time ago that used to happen, and I think that's a very good thing, making house calls as well. So what do you think on those two issues? Thank you very much.
Okay, I like those questions. So he asks two things. He asks about a subscription and basically
and
some kind of telemedicine thing. And sometimes we want what the United States have, our first world country, but we don't want to pay the cost. We got to keep that in mind. All of these access to your physician and healthcare, it's a business because medicine is a business. Although it is giving care and healing to the sick, it is a business, and it is a big business internationally. Most of our services are subsidized here because when people go to the hospital, I just want to say this, and pay $10 for their prescription, 4 medication on that script. These, not even one is covered by that $10. So I just want people to understand that medicine is a business. He's talking about having a subscription model, and so you're going to have to pay month to month for that. Even if you don't access it for that month, you want it available. So 6-7 months, you're perfectly fine and you don't have it, but you're still paying for it. So our person's going to be ready to do that. Most doctor fee here is 100, 150 EC dollars, and persons still have difficulty. Hence, we have the health centers, we have the clinics that can access persons who may not have access to their physician. The last point on this is that we're talking about a country, United States, which have over almost 350 million persons. That is why their wait time to see their physician is such an extended, protracted period. We don't have that here. So most of these things and these telemedicine sometimes that we have in a lockdown situation, it may be adequate, okay? But we have access to our physicians here. We have access to our healthcare providers. We have access to the health centers. So I don't think in a smaller community it is really feasible. And then the person who puts this in place then has the added cost of the technology, the internet, and all these things that has it to make it up and running, but they're not having the volume of patients or persons who access it to make it profitable. That's the word, to make it profitable. And the other point about house calls, there's still some physicians who does house calls. A colleague of mine told me the other day, a family wanted special attention. They wanted a loved one was ill. She had to make several calls to the home, visiting them. Of course, you have to drive from where you live, go to their home, attend to them. And then once there's a bill assigned, sometimes persons want to query it and have difficulty paying that bill. So some persons choose not to do it because it may not be convenient. Sometimes I prefer the person, if you have a problem, I say just come to the hospital, because even if I come to your house, I'm limited in the resources that I may have to make a definitive thing. If you're having pain, I don't have any pain medication. I don't have any antibiotics directly. So sometimes going to the person's house may not be feasible either, and still the person may still have to go to the hospital or go downtown to the clinic, because even if I write your script, so the doctors find it easier that the persons come to them at their convenience. You have access to a lot of doctors here. And we always say that the hospital, I always emphasize that to our people, is open 24/7. If you have a problem, please let your loved ones take you to the hospital, because there you have more resources. If I have to rehydrate you, I have it there. If I have to take blood samples, so come into your home, we still do that, but it may not give you all the support that you need. And this house call was a thing too, where persons live in far rural areas, and you had to go far to them where they couldn't come and stuff like that. So most of us, we have access to some point of health, a health center or something here. All right. So that's really what we wanted to talk about. I think in terms of the other points, when we talk about the last thing I wanted to mention, teamwork. Sometimes the doctor is at the face of the case, but there are lots of persons who sometimes do not get enough credit. We've got our nurses there. We have our auxiliary staff. We have our technicians who have to do your imaging studies, or lab techs who have to do your blood work. So it's a whole team, and we need to respect each other, because a lot of times the nurses have really helped me. They said, Doc, this is what I've seen, and don't you want to rethink your position on this case? Don't you want to think this is what? Sometimes I'll ask what you think, because they spend a lot of time with the patients, and they pick up on certain of the details and the nuances. So it is a healthcare system, it's a team system, and we work together, and we have to respect each other. I have challenged the public as well too, that they should not disrespect the nurse, because I always tell them that the nurses are the conduit, or the in-between the patient and the physician.
Doctor,
Yes, so I would say, well, what did the nurse say? Persons have called down at my office and haven't spoken to the nurse. And I said, no, you bypass an important challenge. If you're having tummy ache, why you call the office? The nurse is right there. The medication is indicated. So let us respect our healthcare team and the nurses as well, because they had to study and work hard for their position and their degree as well too, and the other healthcare providers. So
I want to finish the last question though. I know you have emergencies. How important is it to stay calm?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to call us out on this, and I'm going to talk it. Sometimes we have this idea that healthcare is what we see on the dramas, the ERs shows, the residents. Most healthcare is a calm setting, scientific data analytical thing. You're analyzing data, and all this scurrying about that we see on these shows doesn't mean that you're doing anything. I often walk into the emergency room, and they'll call, and I'll say, okay, we need to do a particular thing. I'm coming, get this, this, and that. And I want to go there calmly and take charge of the, because the surgeon or the doctor who's coming there, that's the leader there. So you have to have a sense of calm and confidence, because when the public sees you or the patient sees you, they have to feel reassured that you're going to help solve the problem. So you can't be coming fussing about and scurrying about as if like we're on an episode of The Resident or ER. That doesn't mean that you're doing anything. So I pride myself in staying composed. Of course, you're in a situation and there's blood going everywhere in the operating room. You have to stay calm. You get blood on you, and you know that that's par for the course, and you know that you then have to control the bleeding. But you can get out of sorts. So it's important to compose yourself once you're working in the ER, once you're responsible for persons, because people respond to a sense of calm, because they come in with chaos. We have a multi-vehicular accident, and there are lots of persons scurrying about. You have to have a strategic plan. That is why we plan. What is the person, who's the person who needs most of the medical attention there? Who can wait because their condition is much more stable or minor? So these are some of the things as a physician you have to always keep in mind. But stay calm. Most of the time, if you can save the person cartensia, you will have time to save the person. So that drama, let's get it out of our head. Medicine is much more subdued, much more controlled, much more organized, okay?
All right. So, Dr. Osborne, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for such an inspiring discussion. And thank you all for joining us on Weekly Dose and calling in. I appreciate everyone that called in today. So, until next time, stay informed, stay healthy, and stay engaged with your doctor. Thank you, Doc.
Okay, have a good one, everybody.
I kind of wanted to make a comment, but anyway.
Go ahead, man.
Well, there are two things that struck me. One, detail, and the other, competence. Because me as an electrical engineer, I know I have to have detail when I go into a circuit, and I must be competent. But for the doc now, this is one of the reasons why I admire her specifically. Because when I go into a component system, if I make a mistake, I know how I felt as a young technician when I made a mistake and it didn't work. But this is a human being now.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of competence to be able to, you can't make the mistakes that I would make in a circuit. And then the third thing, which is something I wanted to see in her, and I saw in her when she was dealing with the cancer patient, and I realized that she had empathy. That is the main. So Doc, I must say that presently you're the only doctor I have an interest in.
So you get a patient. He's subscribing.
Because you have detail, competence, and empathy.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for your kind words, Quint. Okay, bye-bye.
We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
Here comes the Mega Ball. You could win more with the Mega Ball. Pick 3 and pick 4 and you could get all.
Yes, playing Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Caribbean Lottery just got more rewarding. Now you can win more with the Mega Ball. For just an extra $1, increase your winnings by $1,000 with the Pick 3 and a big $10,000 with the Pick 4. Don't wait, play today. Play Pick 3 and Pick 4 with the Mega Ball at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide.
You ready to win a little extra? Then get on the ball.
Must be 21 and over to play. The island's biggest adventure hits the road on Saturday, November 22nd, 2025.
It's the Rotary Club of St. Kitts Carnival Car Rally. Fun, prizes, and community spirit collide. Starting at Frigate Bay Lawn at 9:30 a.m., ending with a mouth-watering barbecue and car show at Rotary House, Portland from 12 p.m.
Win up to $5,000 in cash and carnival costumes packages.
All registered teams get gift bags from Goldmine Jewelry Store.
Check out new rides from CNC, TDC, and SL Horsfords.
With financing from Republic Bank, CIBC Caribbean, the Bank of Nevis, SKCCU, TDC Financial Services, and insurance from TDC Insurance.
Party with DJ Taro and DJ Smudge with sunset ticket giveaways.
So grab your crew, decorate your ride, and hit the road for a cause. Team registration, $250. Barbecue, $25 per meal. Be there to win.
And we are back on Island Tea, and as I said, I did enjoy Weekly Dose, and I hope for all the doctors listening that whatever area you may lack in, because we all lack in areas of our lives, as we normally say, or we hear the old time people say, we can pull up our socks, so we can do what's necessary to make patients feel more welcoming and understood. Because, you know, sometimes we say, boy, the doctor give me 11 o'clock appointment and I don't get in there till 1 o'clock. Like, what? I, for one, would say, why give me an appointment then? Because I come at 11 and I don't get in there till 1. I should have asked the doctor that question, how is that the case? But I long for the day when they say come 11, and when you reach 11, straight in the office, you know? But there must be some kind of method to what happens, but I don't know until I have the...
I can understand to some extent, but I wouldn't go as far as a whole hour or 2 hours. But sometimes you have a patient and you thought that it would have ended at a certain point, but the patient is emotional and you want to soothe them before they leave the office. So the emphasis is on soothing that individual. So it can go a bit over time, but it should not be as much as, let's say, a half an hour and that.
But do you think they should like call the secretary and let the secretary apologize for the people waiting there? Because what if to Quint, as you rightfully said, what if the patient tell you they have that, and while examining them you find something else, and that takes more time? Do you think it's feasible or viable for them to call the receptionist and just have them apologize to the waiting?
Well, sometimes it depends, but sometimes you're in the zone. You understand what it means when you're in the zone? Like you're really focused and nothing else is on your mind.
Exactly.
So you know, you just...
It slips you.
You don't, so they're human.
Yeah, they're all human, and that's why you have to be empathetic. Yeah. And I like the part where she said, don't talk down the other. And it's good when some doctors can dismiss and say, okay, and just, don't say anything bad about the
We
other.
have a caller.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island Tea. Good morning.
Yes, Quinton Catense, quickly. Now, the ruler of the divided state, right? Let us be in mind that right now he is very perplexed and he's hungry for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, let us picture him with his theatrics. He's going into Nigeria to save Christians who are mostly Africans globally. We are Christian. Now, do we think that Trump really wants to go into Nigeria to save Christians, to bring peace to Nigeria, to fight the same system that their hands are guilty in, Boko Haram? Who put Boko Haram? Who supplied Boko Haram? But here we have a man who is hungry for the Nobel Peace Prize. and he wants to go to bring order in Nigeria to save Christians. I mean, guys, let us put on our forensic eyes and pay attention to what is at play here. I mean, Quint, I know that you and Catencia know the game. But when is enough is going to be enough? Because as one person said earlier, what is happening in the UAE been going on for centuries. Well, enough is enough, Quint. Enough is enough. What is going on in Sudan, what is going on in the DRC, our resources that is geared towards green technology is at stake. When would enough become enough? When would we take ownership of what belongs to us? Trump does not want to go into Nigeria to save Christians. Nigeria have oil, along with other minerals. But look at us, Quint. Look at us, Catencia. Every other race on this planet is becoming more of themselves. We are Africans today. When are we going to stop being divided? Once we are divided, we are manipulated, and our focus has become clouded as to what is our birthright. I asked this question last week, Quint. If the God of the Bible put all that resources within the African continent, and then we have Benjamin Netanyahu who's saying that the text of the Bible does not apply to them. It's applied to the subjects. But look at the resources that is within. I'm trying this question out for our Christian people to wrap their mind around what is written, who wrote the syllabus. Because if the resources that is within Africa, then surely we are not supposed to be at the bottom of the ladder. But then again, is the God in the Bible is the creator. I leave that there for the Christian community to wrap their thoughts around, Quint. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay.
I ain't touching that one there. But it's just funny because, yes, we're going to say people are going to put us against each other, right? But if I look at you, Quint, and you look at me, we look the same. We have the same color. So why are we going to allow them to pit us against each other, knowing that we very well killing off each other for them? And as you rightfully said, some folks from Africa, I saw it on the news, went to fight. Like some of them are in Ukraine or in Russia fighting too. I don't know how they got there. People are still trying to find out how they got there. But why are you taking up battles that don't belong to you, dude? I was staying at my house.
I don't know.
I don't understand, but we ourselves have to wake up because, we're going to say, oh, when it had slavery, it was these colored people picking us up, whatever, but we were giving us away to these colored people.
To some extent.
Yeah, so I'm like, we've been doing it for centuries. When will we stop?
Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quint. Good morning, Cortencia.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm giving thanks for life.
Okay.
The ships are in, so I'm down here juggling.
All right.
I had some guests in the Koi Hotel, so they wanted to bridge the Narrows, and so they're going over to Nevis. We encourage that. 2 islands, 1 paradise.
Amen.
Okay? Quint, though, I want to follow up from a contribution I made concerning what President Donald Trump said about he sending in or attempting to talk to the Pentagon about sending troops to Nigeria because of the Christian onslaught. But Quint, I have done my research, and when it comes to these matters, I want to reserve. I want to do some research before I can present it to the general public. So I have done a research by a PhD, Juan Bakari, and others, and they did the analysis because there was a report but it is one-sided because to date, of the 83 Christian churches that was burned, touched by Boko Haram and ISWAT, there's another group, splinter group. 83 churches was burned. Christians died. But the number was like 1,500, as opposed to 70 mosques that was burned and Muslims died. 2,000 Islamic and Muslims died. So when it comes to ideology and establishing what you call a caliphate in the Islamic ideology, and we don't know the count for who they will classify as animists, traditional people. We only hear in the count of Christians and Muslims, two of the main religious groups in organized religion. But Donald Trump ran with the narrative, and others took it up to present a case to want to invade Nigeria, to say that Christians are being slaughtered, when in fact none should be slaughtered, but there are more Muslims that are being slaughtered, and maybe even more animists that are being slaughtered. So we have to be careful when we're really presenting these things to the general public, because there's a balancing line there,
Africa,
and we need to get all the facts.
When you say we, who do you mean? We have to be careful.
There are some sections, factions, for whatever reasons. I will have empathy if I am a Christian, and someone will have empathy if they're a Muslim. And others will have empathy if they follow traditional way of life, what we call spirituality. So therefore, it would be prudent to get the facts and the stats before we present it. Because one will get the impression that it's only all churches that are being burned, or all mosques that are being burned, or all shrines that are being burned, when you're speaking to the spiritual animist people. So therefore, we have to be careful when we're presenting these things. We don't present them as if we're apologists on behalf of Christianity, apologists on behalf of Islam, or apologists on behalf of traditional spiritual ways of life.
I agree, but here's why I asked the question. I asked the question because when you said we have to be careful, I agree with even that statement. We have to be careful because the mainstream media is what a lot of people, even though there's a lot of different factions now, people still want to give credence to the mainstream media. But notice how whatever rhetoric from a particular country is pushed, the mainstream media associated with that country locks onto it and push that narrative, right? This is why we've got to be careful. For instance, if the United States of America's leader Trump says something, even though there are some factions that might kind of disagree with him, they're looking at from their patriotic standpoint, from we are U.S. citizens, we are America, and he's the president. And they're going to try to follow a pattern of respect for him, and they're going to push that narrative, even though they know from their own research that that narrative isn't what it should be. Because in truth and in fact, Africa, a lot of what is said by this present United States of America president is utter nonsense, has no real merit, but yet still the media locks onto it, and every minute we hear President Trump said that, President Trump says this, President Trump sues this. So that is
and
why...
we know what the media, like your guest the other day, John, spoke about an era when the Bible was used as a, as a medium to propagate a certain narrative. Now the media is propagating that same narrative. So we have to be careful because those mainstream media has played a role and those mainstream media will always play the role.
Yeah.
But there are so much other media houses now that are on board that if we get something from the mainstream media, we would conclude and say, well, okay, this is propaganda. Let us take the part shoot out of it and the rest lie.
Yeah.
You discard it, and then you go to other sources and to get the facts and the stats before we can present these things
Yeah, I
to the
agree.
fore. Because we grew up in a Christian society, no doubt about it. And when we hear these things propagating, coming from a certain area of what we are accustomed to, we will have empathy because Christians are Christians are Christians, irrespective of where they dwell, what part of the world they dwell. Likewise, Muslims are Muslims are Muslims. Also, spiritualist practitioners would have empathy for the other practitioners because everything has a common origin.
Yeah.
Okay? So we will have empathy for that. So I just wanted to bring that. 83 churches were burned, especially in the north, because they're in the northern portion of Nigeria, more Islamic areas. And that is where they're concentrating on certain provinces in the north, or states, as they call them. And then further south now is where predominantly Christians, they're Muslim population, but predominantly Christians, predominantly Muslims, but there are Christians in between also. But these guys, their ideology, that doesn't care about if you're a Christian or you're Muslim. They want these spaces to be the caliphate.
Yeah.
Not only that, Quinn, let me throw this in quickly. One of the reasons Donald Trump is saying what he's saying about Nigeria and other places is that Nigeria now, they're planning on trading in the yuan, or they simply call it by another name, RMD.
Yeah.
The Chinese way, with 184 countries probably, about to sign on to.
Yeah.
Countries in the European space.
I'm glad you made that point too, because this is something a lot of individuals are not aware of. The West is quite aware that they are losing ground, and they're trying to find ways of using intimidation, whereas what they should have been doing long ago. I have a clip with which I'm going to play sometime in the future, with a European leader saying, look, we messed up, we made some mistakes and so forth, but we're going to try to go now and deal with them in a way that they want. But he's an individual. That's not the thinking of most of them. Most of them still feel they can use the old big stick intimidation faction to get what they want, and it's not going to work.
Which has driven people away from them. So
that's it.
You have been beating me with that big stick for the longest. I have suffered trauma, and you want to come tell me you're going to use that same methodology to make me come back to you?
Yeah.
That's abuse. Also, the ASEAN countries, like Singapore and those countries where Donald Trump has just visited, they maybe hours or a day or two after the Donald Trump's visit, they went on and signed on to China with other things and gave commitment to the Chinese,
Yeah.
So we're seeing, okay, you would have thought that, but this thing would have lasted for a little while. Donald Trump just visited Japan and those areas there, and no, a total rejection.
And what does
also
that...
in Nigeria is the biggest oil refinery, Dangote. Dangote has established the biggest oil refinery. Because Nigeria oil and so used to go out to be processed and to be refined and come back at a larger price written up, where the Nigerian had to be buying byproducts from the crude oil and so forth. Now Dangote established the largest oil refinery in the world. That speaks volume to where Nigeria ought to go, from Nigeria having been endowed with so many minerals, and it does not redound to the nationals.
Yeah, but here this too. I'm glad you brought that point in. One of the thing is, if Donald Trump just went to Singapore, and no sooner than he leaves, they sign on to China. The message that is sent is this: whatever tactic they tried to use with Singapore is showing them it's not going to work. That's one. here's the other faction, the point that you use in terms of Nigeria. Let's use Guyana now as an example, because a lot of people don't know this about Guyana. I have a Guyanese opposite there, so I'm going to tell her I must commend her leader, because when the U.S. first started this thing with the Essequibo area, I said he needs to take a point and sit down, observe what is happening, and negotiate. And you know, that's just what he's done. Imagine the American faction who were in there first, they offered him 2%, Africa, 2% of his oil and he didn't tell them anything, you know. He sat down, he thought it out, and he negotiated. And now he has other factions in there who are giving him 60%. You see the difference? You see the big difference?
Guyana deserving of 60%, the majority of percentage.
Yeah, but he had to.
Any country is deserving of
That's what I'm saying.
Natural resource, deserving of the majority.
And this is what our Caribbean leaders need to understand. I said it in the beginning. I said our Caribbean leaders, whether you have oil, whether you have nothing but the resources of your people, stop going into these forums and sit down and let them dictate to you. You are now in a position to bargain, because the world is not the way it used to be yesterday.
Look at our economy, very fragile. We only get 10% of the revenue that comes from, and the Caribbean is the #1 tourist destination.
Yeah.
Let us tax the tourists, because they're paying their tickets, the taxes that being increased to their tickets as they travel. They know, they are aware that they're going to the Mediterranean and they have to pay this amount.
Oh, you mean?
As opposed to coming to the Caribbean and paying pittance.
Yeah.
And so let us tax the tourists, because this is our economy.
That's it. So in a nutshell, if our leaders are aware of what is happening, then tomorrow for their citizens will be better than it is today. And that is why we do not want things like this SSZ and those other things, because when you do that, you're giving away your power. We are now on the verge of our power mattering. You understand? So let's not, because when you give it away, then in our proximity, we don't have any power. And that's what we don't want at this time.
And it's like saying we cannot develop, we cannot do nothing on our own.
Yeah.
For far too long, that myth, it has to go. We have to dispel that myth.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, Quinn.
Okay.
You're welcome.
We'll take a bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
When you need better service, Rams
Registration is now open for the COSCAP Junior Carnival Parade 2025. This year, we celebrate under the theme National Treasures, highlighting our unspoiled historical sites and cultural art forms. The Masquerade, Clowns, Brimstone Hill, Berkeley Memorial, Independence Square, and from Nevis, Hot Spring, Bath Hotel, and the Botanical Gardens. It all comes alive on Saturday, December 27th, 2025. Sign up now. It's free. Register online at www.skncarnival.com or in person at the Department of Youth, 3rd floor of the Cable Building, Keon Street, Bastyr. But hurry, while the stocks last, join the celebration, honor our national treasures, and watch the future of Carnival shine. It's sweet to the core. Sugar Mass 54.
And we're back on Island Tea just about 20 minutes before the hour of 10 o'clock in the a.m. And Quint, this morning, it's funny that when we speak about things, it just happens.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about trying our best to sustain ourselves, having not to depend on the outside sources in terms of getting our own revenue. But then even that is a fight down because they have to determine who we can sell what to and who gets what, and decide we're going to withhold this because you disrespected this or you did that, and it's just a lot.
The
So
audacity, the audacity of these people, you know.
They don't want us to survive and not dependent. I thought when we get older, our parents say, come, it's time to go, because I won't say they had enough of us, but, it's time for you to go on your own. I brought you up, I paid for this, I did that. It's your turn to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
So won't you be happy to say, okay, it's your turn to do it for yourself.
Most
Go your way in
definitely.
peace. But it's no, hold you in a gridlock. You had to stay here, I need you here, I'll keep you here, and I'll continue
But
to.
but you see, even that in itself isn't so bad, but you continue to abuse me. That's the
Boy.
bad part. Hello, caller?
Yes, quickly, Quint.
Very quickly, we have another caller.
Yes, Quint. Now, what I want to say is this, right? Now, I mentioned, I put emphasis on Christian this morning because most of us are Christians. But yes, Bola Tinubu is a Muslim, and the vice president of Nigeria is a Muslim. So yes, I know, I understand the agenda. I'm aware of it. I only highlight Christian because we see ourselves as Christians. And this is why I'm saying, Quint, every other race are becoming more of themselves. When would Africans see themselves and stop being splintered off? I am a this, I am a that. We are one people. And all that we need right now, Quint, is our unity and knowledge of who we are, knowledge of self.
Yeah.
That's my message to our people, Quint.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought we had another caller, but they have left. I'm going to play this clip for attention, and I want you to listen to it keenly because it pertains to Africa, right? A particular country in Africa. But I want you to listen because this fits into what Afrin Ali decided. Look, I'm not going to take any 2% from you. I'm going to negotiate. So here's it where America wanted a monopoly on Guyanese oil and would pay 2%. But now Guyanese has an American company, Chinese company, and I can't remember the other
It's
one.
in Canada as well.
Yeah, right? And they're getting a better deal. But listen to this clip.
The African Union is set to become a permanent member of G20, which would give the continental body of 55 African states the same status as the European Union.
We are more or less pushed out many Western countries, including US, from Niger, from Mali, from Burkina Faso, from some other countries. And this will cause problems for the future if we don't act. So we are thinking about an integrated approach to step up our efforts in Africa. And especially this approach will be that we will support them in a way that they ask for.
Oh, I paused that. Remember just a while ago I told you about the man who was saying we made a mistake and we're going to reevaluate and we're going to support them now. I'm going to play it back from the beginning so that you hear. This is what he's saying, and this is what the IMF and the World Bank wants after in terms of, listen to the whole narration.
The African Union is set to become a permanent member of G20, which would give the continental body of 55 African states the same status as the European Union.
We are more or less pushed out many Western countries, including US, from Niger, from Mali, from Burkina Faso, from some other countries. And this will cause problems for the future if we don't act. So we are thinking about an integrated approach to step up our efforts in Africa. And especially this approach will be that we will support them in a way that they ask for, instead of bringing them good, like we did in the past. So we're working hard on that one. But the reality at the moment is we lost ground. We saw there are more and more actors active in Africa. And I mentioned already migration, but it also means that when we are not present there, that it will be more difficult to have access to raw materials.
You have to ask yourself, why now? Look, with the expansion of BRICS, it has finally dawned on the colonial West that Africans have an alternative to the classic Western-led world order, and they are desperate to rein Africans back into the neo-colonial power sphere. For what feels like eternity, Africans weren't treated like equal partners, and instead any relationship was built on the foundation of subjugation and control. But with the facade of Western dominance cracking and new alliances forming, Africa's might can no longer be undermined. It's finally time for the world's most important continent to step up to the plate and redefine its destiny. It's easy to be fooled by Western promises of seemingly altruistic equality and partnership, especially after getting a seat at the table, isn't it? But never forget what they did to you and milk this cow for what it's worth.
The U.S. doesn't like all this sovereignty and making its own decisions that Africa is up to. So the United States now has decided to put some pressure on Africa to basically sanction itself against buying any goods or anything else from Russia other than grain and fertilizer. Grain and fertilizer, okay, fine.
Here's the New York Times headline.
Yes, so now the New York Times is reporting that U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, is warning African countries not to purchase anything from Russia besides grain and fertilizer, or else what? Or else what? You know what? Sanctions.
Because we love our sanctions.
Our favorite things, right? So you sanction them, or we're going to sanction you, right? Now, you may recall that just a few weeks ago, we reported that African nations, they had a conference lately, they published a paper, and they said we need to tap into our own resources of fossil fuel for energy because we are too dependent on foreign imports and therefore too vulnerable to outside influences. This is prime example of that kind of thing, right? So the rest of the world said, no, Africa, you're going the wrong way. Don't use fossil fuels. You'll screw up the environment. Like, it's fine for us to have done that, but you don't start, right? Don't go and use your own oil. Unless we want it, then give it to us, right? But no, we cannot have African nations making sovereign decisions. We need to reserve the right to tell you what to do.
So here's what U.S. Ambassador Thomas Linda Greenfield said when, and we'll go through what she was planning here with this New York Times. In this New York Times piece, it lays it out pretty well. She says, during a visit to Uganda, that countries could buy Russian agricultural products, including fertilizer and wheat. But she added that if a country decides to engage with Russia where there are sanctions, then they are breaking those sanctions. She says, we caution countries not to break those sanctions because then they stand the chance of having actions taken against them. I mean, the audacity.
That's a not so veiled threat.
Like, you bullies, right? She says that purchasing Russian oil risks sanctions. So if you need fuel, you can't buy it from Russia. You run on fuel in Africa. You run on diesel fuel. You need diesel generators. You know, how else are you going to live, right? If you need it, sorry, that's a violation and we will come after you. The United States, to a horribly poverty-stricken, famine-stricken part of the world that gets hit the hardest when we put these sanctions in place, is going to bully them. She goes on to say, even though many of the U.S. European allies are still buying Russian crude before a ban takes effect by the end of the year, many African nations, including Uganda, have not joined the U.S. in condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Oh, maybe they're independent and they can make their own decisions, like Serbia.
Maybe
right?
they don't want in on your fight.
Maybe like Serbia, which made a natural gas deal, and they've made their point. They know what they want. They know where their allies are. They remember NATO bombing. They remember their country being destroyed. And many African nations have a long memory of U.S. colonialism, U.S. military intervention.
Now, I want you to know, those are two American Caucasian people when our own black people want to say, forget the history, forget no white man out there. These are two rational thinking white people who see through the audacity of their own country. And notice at the end of that where they said, the EU is saying, they are still purchasing oil from Russia until a ban that comes into the end of the year. Yeah. So they are still purchasing, but they're telling you don't purchase otherwise. I mean, you see the audacity and the craziness of these people?
Keep you down.
Yeah. Hello, caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, Hortensia and Quentin, to all the listeners.
Hey, good morning, my dear.
Yesterday I listened to you with the DPP.
Yeah.
And I must say, you handle yourself well, as usual.
Well, I try.
And in spite of what you tell Welcome, you had a specific topic.
Yes.
Still talking about SSD. But talking about the SSD, though, the problem I have, well, it's not a problem. I saw a recent video with PM Brantley stating that how he went university and he come first. Well, I don't know if you went university, but you come across as very eloquent and a lot of the callers.
I do have a degree. As a matter of fact, I have 2.
Okay, but I don't know what he was trying to say. So are you saying that, is he saying that everybody who speaking out against the SSV, well, I guess everybody can come first in university, but what is he really saying?
But you see, caller, when individuals do that, it shows that as bright as they think they are insecure.
Yes, because to me, Mr. Astafan speak out against it. As far as I know, Sam said he went Oxford University. I think Dwyer went London.
Yeah.
Charles Wilkins, you say you have Miss Henry went university.
Yeah.
It just don't make no sense. Maybe like he winding down. Maybe he ready to. Maybe the next thing he might say is FIU.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh.
Yeah, I love the program as usual. Morning clear. I think we but with Journey. Journey, we but with you.
Yeah.
Take care.
All right. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah.
Quint, I found it. It's from Simon Wansa Cap. It says, if you don't handle, or it says, and quote, if we don't handle our independence very well, colonizers will come back in the form of investors. So I'll read it again since you were a little taken up. And I quote, if we don't handle our independence very well, colonizers will come back in the form of investors.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got that from a Facebook page. I don't think I need to say whose Facebook page because I don't want anybody to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But it is from Simon Wansa Cap Webwi.
Yeah, we have a caller.
Yeah. Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, Quinton here.
Hey, John.
And my brethren, Quinn.
How you doing?
Quinn, I want to be a little different this morning because we have some serious problems down at Port Zante where our own craft vendors leave various places in the country to operate the trade. Hello?
We're listening to you. We're listening to you. He's here.
Hello?
Hi, you can hear us?
Yeah, Quinton here.
We can hear you. Quinn can hear you as well.
I keep telling him he needs to listen to the phone.
What I'm saying is that we have some problem down at Port Zante where our own traders, craft vendors cannot make no money because our tourist department is not looking out for them. You understand? During the COVID, the Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister, allowed these people to operate out in the center from the Welcome Hall. You could imagine, Quinn, poor people leave various parts of the country to comply the change. Cannot make a dollar where they got them down there. And the tourism department cannot see it fit to put them out by the Welcome Hall. Either you gotta rotate them. Me and Potencia, this board, Clinton, whoever, the next board. That they could make money. The Indian shops them have the privilege and they're in the position, Quinn, to telling the tourists them that no craft out when they got them over by the Pelican Mall. The craft is in the store. Well, let me say something this morning. No Indian don't pay to reclaim them land. It's Kennedy Simmons Barclays Bank $49 million to reclaim them land. And if the tourism don't see it fit to put our people over there, we might not go down there and boycott. Because I'm willing to do it. If Diamond International could put a boat down there to give away bags, what the hell happened to the people? The children have to eat. Marshall, I'm calling on you. Do the right thing. Otherwise, don't come back the road is coming up. Please, I'm warning you, you know. You all is stepping away from the poor people. And we in the street, Cecil Robert University, is not going to allow it. So I could cut down the street. From now till judgment comes. It's not going to happen. Deal with these poor people. They should be making money just like the Indian them and down and Posante. It's unfair. It's been happening quite a while. And I ain't going to come to it. If it takes me, the poor people defender to raise these things, are willing and able to come forward to our public. Because y'all is crazy. How y'all could allow in that? How you could allow in such things to be happening down there and our people coming in lab? Can't even make an error. 20 elder people that meet me Sunday. I was telling me, boy, I'm down. I down here since 6 o'clock. Come from all the way to Tabernacle. I'm going home without a dollar and pay vehicles. Go pay vehicle. Because none of the place down there where they could put off that thing quick. And potential. And come back the next day, open the lock and go afterward. It's terrible. And money spending all over the place. Have a good morning, Quinn. And potential.
Thank you, Jam.
You're sweet like honey.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you.
You see how sneaky he is? He's sneaky in that. I'm sure he rehearsed that time. They say, when I finish, I'm going to make sure I put you in that one. Kudos to you, Jam Down. Hello. Okay, lost that call.
And he's talking about where the vendors are behind, right?
I would assume down in the Pelican Mall area.
The next time I walk down there, I look to see in terms of the lockers and stuff, because you're right. If you have to bring something every day, you don't have a vehicle, you have to pay for the space that you're going to take up.
Yeah.
So some people might say you're taking up space, so you have to pay for that. But we have to look out for our own.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
That is, and it's good that you can feel the passion from Jam Down. You can hear it, you can feel it. That those are the people who put you in the position that you are in. You know. Hello, caller.
Hello, caller.
Hey, greetings.
Yes.
I want to piggyback on a statement you make concerning the royalties from the oil in Guyana.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some information, and it is showing me that Guyana is receiving 2%, and they have some other deals that may go to 10%.
Well, I'm gonna look for a clip. Maybe not today because we're almost out of time, but I'm gonna look for a clip and play it where you're gonna hear for yourself. Okay. Maybe it all depends on when that came out, because like I said, there was a point where he was offered that 2% and he decided to renegotiate, and now he has other factions, including China. So I'm going to look for that clip, okay?
You know, and quickly before you go, my information also showing me that the reason why this 2% is in effect is that just to mobilize the company, that's where they set that at 2%, because you could get all the oil in the world, if you can't get it out the ground, you're poor.
That's true.
And because of the technology you need it, most likely you will sign the document.
Yeah.
Same thing happened in St. Croix with his oil. It was 2%. When they were refining all the oil down there, it was 2%. And look how long ago that was. So nothing has really changed.
Well, if like I said, I've got a clip. I'm going to look for it because I've got hundreds of clips, and sometimes I have some lined up that I will play, and then the others so I have to search for them. So I'm going to look for that clip. Okay.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
All right, thank
Take
you
care.
for calling.
Yes, because I make sure I do my research, on certain things, and I did see where he was offered that, and if, as the caller says, if way back then it was 2%, let's extrapolate and see if it makes any sense that it's still put 2%. You understand? And this is why, again, the clip that I played with that European leader, he was saying we made some mistakes, and now we're gonna renegotiate and we're gonna give you what you want. You understand? That is all. That is all people want. This is all African countries and leaders who want autonomy. That's all they're seeking. Deal with us with respect. You want our resources, we have it. You have the machinery and so forth to extract it and refine it and whatnot. No problem, but give us a fair exchange.
Exactly.
You understand?
Don't just hog all for yourself.
That's it.
Because when they do, when they leave, you're left with absolutely nothing.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Caller, good morning. You're live on Island T.
Yes, it's me again. Now, I would like to say two things very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yes, first of all, people love to say that, the Bible was used to support slavery and that sort of stuff. Well, the Bible actually condemned at least the form that was practiced in the West. But let me also say, the abolitionists, white and black people, also used the Bible, and properly so, to condemn slavery, to fight against it, to bring it to an end, also to establish charities, churches, and programs like soup kitchen and so, to take care of the poor and that sort of stuff. Yes, the Bible was used by true Christians and many who could name Christians to do such good things as well around the world. Lastly, you remember I asked you, Quint, about if Port Zante at one time was owned by the government by the time Dr. Simmons left office. Well, man will say yes, that was the case. And also asked, did Dr. Denzel Douglas in his time, did he sell out that part that belonged to the government to foreigners so that they build the buildings them and so down there? You see, and because if government had owned it and Dr. Douglas had met it under the government hand ownership, why not build those vendors thing on top the Port Zante so that the first thing...
My understanding, and I'm not too clear on this, but my understanding is where that big Chinese building is in front of KFC?
Yeah.
My understanding is that was not supposed to be there, right? That kind of business was not supposed to be there in that close proximity to what is happening on the Barcia roadstead. But during the tenure of the individual whose name you just called, Dr. Denzel Douglas, everything seemed to change. If you can remember, when that building was being constructed, there was a whole lot of noise.
Yeah, there was a big uproar about that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if Port Zante, when Dr. Simmons left office, if Port Zante was under the government and because of Dr. Simmons paying whatever to buy Port Zante, well, why didn't Dr. Denzel Douglas, they got the local vendors, and why didn't he put them up at Port Zante so as soon as you come out the welcoming building, the first set of people you meet will be the local vendors.
Well, I can't.
In a properly housed.
We cannot go into the minds of most of our leaders, but if you look at what has happened in terms of during his tenure and what is trying to raise its head up again, I think you have a bit of the answer because what is happening in this southeast area with what's that place over there name again? Christoph Harbour. Yeah. and then we're seeing this SSZ and what is proposed to happen in Nevis, and then we're hearing the term White Gate again coming up. I think you can extrapolate and come to a conclusion as to the answer.
Well, and I'm saying, since the government had won Port Zante, those lands should not have been sold to foreigners.
But you hear what I
should have been the one investing in them.
You heard the example that I just used?
I know. And by the way, Timothy Harris in a video that I was listening to said he heard it. He was alleged that he was a Nigerian who they were planning to give Regiwell place to, the land to. But he said the latest thing he have heard is really a SSZ person who is really that is alleged that they want to give the location to, with Regiwell Francis location. That is what he said at the conference.
This Reggie individual seems to be a thorn in their side.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Take care, everybody. God bless you all.
Yeah. Have a good one too, Greg.
And we've come to the end of another stint.
Yeah. It was indeed a good day. Great discussions overall. You don't know what we're gonna come with tomorrow, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, I won't be here tomorrow though. Tomorrow's my early morning, so folks, I'll see you on Thursday and Friday again.
Okay, so you heard it for yourself. She won't be here tomorrow. I'm going to be on my lonesome as per usual. And Jam Down, you won't be seeing your sweet as honey babe.
Jam Down, have a good day, my dear.
Found the sound.